Hey, what's going on everyone? Tyler here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new TC SL1 from Deity microphones. The Deity TC SL1 is a world's first in that it's the first Bluetooth enabled Slate device, and it's pretty amazing. If you're familiar with the timecode boxes, the TC1 devices from Deity, then you're gonna really come to love this thing. But real quick, let's talk about what it ships in, then we'll kind of get into all of the good stuff. So it ships in this nice little semi-rigid case here. It's a little soft case. You get your ever important stickers, some QR codes, and stuff for manuals and downloading Sidus audio, because you can use Sidus audio, which is really cool. You get this 5-pin LEMO to 3.5mm locking connection to be able to use to jam timecode either to your TC1 devices or your audio recorder or your Tentacle syncs or whatever other timecode boxes that you have that accept a timecode signal. You can do that, or you can actually take a timecode signal into this TC SL1, which is really cool. So you got that. Then you have a USB Type A to Type C cable. This is to either charge the device or update the firmware. And then it comes with this little Type A to Type C converter. So pretty much no matter what charging block you have or whatever, you're gonna be set there. So you're good to go there. It also ships with this dry erase marker, which is really cool. So you can write your metadata on the front of the unit, which is really nice. And then additionally, it also ships with 2 NPF style batteries that are NPF 550 style batteries, and they are really high capacity, and they do ship in the unit itself. So if you open the box and you're looking for the batteries, they're already installed. So just a little fair warning. So that said, let's kind of go ahead and talk about the design and build quality of this unit. All right, this thing is built like a tank. So this like silver gray part is actually milled from a single block of aluminum, and this thing just feels like an absolute tank. It feels just like a MacBook Pro, as you might expect, because, well, same material. It's got a little cutout right here. This is for the handle, and then inside, it's kind of hard to show on camera, but you have this nice little rubberized grip in here. So if you have sweaty hands or really cold hands, or you're wearing gloves or whatever the case may be, it just kind of gives you a little bit of an extra grip to hold on to. So super solid, and that's really helpful if you turn it over for a tail slate, which we'll talk about here in a second. On the top, on the actual clapper right here, you also have a little groove built into here for your thumb, because now you can do single-handed slating, so you second ACs can just show off on set and not even have to do that. You can just be completely out of the way and doom, just like that. Speaking of this clapper, it's made out of black walnut, which number one, it looks really slick, but also it is a really dense hardwood, so it's really rigid, but it's also durable against like moisture and humidity, so it's not gonna like warp or anything like that. Also, there's like a little bit of a magnet, feels like, in here, so just kind of keep it closed, which is really nice. So if you can kind of see what's going on there. So really nice little design here on the back, and then you've got obviously this little screen right here, and this little OLED screen. If you're familiar with the Deity TC1 units, the timecode boxes, the menu system and everything here is gonna feel pretty much at home, and you're gonna be ready to rock if you have those units. Here on the side, we have a little jog wheel to navigate said menu, which is really nice. So you got that jog wheel right here, and it's kind of a jog wheel, and you can press it in to select menu items. One thing, if you are using the menu item and you are in a deeper menu item, to back out, you just hold the menu item down and then you are good to go. Below that, we have this little sliding door which covers the on-off switch. So it's really nice that you have that here, just so you know you're not gonna be able to bump that off. And additionally, the on-off switch is nice and recessed into the unit, so very little chance of this thing turning off, which is also really nice. On the other side, you have an 1/8" jack here, TRS, for sending timecode signal out. You have a 5-pin LEMO to 3.5mm locking connection, and that is nice because it came with the cable. And then right here, you have a little toggle right here, and basically what this does is this turns the information, the digital information, upside down. So if you needed to do like a tail slate or something like that, this information is going to be legible right side up, which is really cool. Now we're upside down looking at the bottom of the unit. We have these 2 battery doors right here. Really high quality. Again, everything here is just made super premium. You have your 2 batteries here. These are user replaceable and they are hot swappable. And like me, I have the Sound Devices Mix Pre 3.2 and I have the little NPF little battery tray or whatever. So I have a bunch of these batteries laying around. So really no worries of ever running out of battery life on this thing. You have indicators right here for battery A and battery B, and then you have this USB Type-C connection here to charge the unit and then also update the firmware if you need to, but you can also do that with the Sidus app. Now let's take a look at the front of this unit, and there's a lot going on here. You have these little color bars here. What I understand about this is it's not meant to be a color checker or anything like that. I think it's really just more aesthetic. Apparently they reached out to a bunch of colorists. They got a lot of feedback on this, on initial designs to make this a color chart. But they reached out to a bunch of colorists and were like, hey, would this be useful to have this as a color chart? And the overwhelming majority said, it's not even worth it because these things get so dirty and they're not covered and all that kind of stuff. So a dirty color chart is pretty much useless to a colorist. So I think this is more just aesthetics than it is anything else. You have your digital screen here, which has a bunch of different information that you can kind of customize here on this, which is really cool. And then you have more metadata right here that you can physically write on with your dry erase marker that it ships with, which is really cool. The other really cool thing about this is that it's actually back illuminated. So when you turn it on, it's kind of hard to see here, but I'll show some B-roll. So if you are in a night shot or a really dimly lit scenario, this thing kind of lights up in the background. So it's much easier to see the information that's written on this. So, you know, your editor, no matter what scenario you're in, your editor is going to be able to read the metadata information, which is super helpful. And then lastly, with the front of the screen, what's really cool is the fact that it has like this anti-reflective material on the front of it. So really handy for, you know, B cam or C cam, or even just, you know, being out in sunlight or light, what are different lighting environments. Pretty much any angle this thing is at, you're going to be able to read the information that's on here. So you're kind of set for dimly lit environments with the backlight and also, you know, harsh light and all that kind of stuff. You're pretty much set. Your editor's going to be able to pretty much see the information no matter what lighting environment you're in, which they're going to really appreciate. All right, so that said, let's talk about actually using this unit. Well, from an analog side, pretty easy. You write down whatever metadata you want and you're good to go. And if that's all you need, then you are ready to rip. But this thing is way more powerful than just that. Not only is it a Slate, but it's also a time code box as well. So as you can see here, if I navigate through the menu items, you can see it looks just like the TC1 unit menu item. So if you're not familiar with the time code boxes from Deity, I have a video on it. I'll link it above so you can kind of see what's going on with the menu items and the app and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to go too much into the menu item on this just because I've already kind of gone over that in another video. Now, one thing that I will mention that's different from the TC1 units is this little offset menu item. And basically what that allows you to do is offset the frames that is showing on here to match up with what your camera's visually seeing versus what the time code coming in is, so that your editor has another visual cue to make sure that everything is going to be exactly lined up. So it's really nice that they have that in here. And then the other thing that is different from the TC1 unit in the app is the fact that you can actually customize the digital information that's on here. So I just had some random stuff on here, but in the actual app, you can actually identify different things that you want to say and the different length of time. I think you can have them all the way up to 5 seconds. So if you wanted to have, like, you know, whatever your project, you know, the movie or the short film or whatever that's called, you can have that on there, or whatever metadata information that you want to have on there that's really pertinent to the production. You can have that. Maybe you can have, like, you know, ISO or aperture or whatever the case may be. You can kind of put all that in here. So it's really nice. And, you know, you don't have to have it on there very long because in the edit bay, you'll be able to see really quick by frames. So that's pretty much it on the menu items. Really the big differences between the TC1 and the TC-SL1. The reason why I'm not going into it is because I did a video on that already, and I guess that makes you go to another one of my videos. But But otherwise, it's pretty similar. If you're used to the TC1, you're gonna be very much at home. You use the same app, Citus Audio, to control everything. Even if, you know, I have a TC1 kit and the TC SL1, you can control all of them within the same app, which is super cool. And it's just the same when you connect it to your Connect It for the first time. You just go into the menu, go to Bluetooth reset the Bluetooth, and then you should be able to link it up, no problem, with the application, and yeah, then you're all set. Okay, so that said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I really think this is an amazing product. Deity really knocked it out of the park on this one. There's so much to this unit, and a lot probably I didn't even cover in this video, but this is more of a first impressions video. I haven't really had a chance to get this thing on set yet, just because I got it in 2 days ago. So yeah, this thing is absolutely amazing. They put so much detail and thought into every corner of this unit. So if you're in the market for a Slate, I would highly recommend this unit. Not only because it's a premium quality product and just an absolute tank of a Slate, but it's also a timecode generator, and being able to send timecode out to your devices is amazing. Like right before I started rolling, I just jammed timecode out of this unit into all of my cameras and audio and all that kind of stuff, and I was ready to roll. So it's really awesome there. But if you also have other timecode devices, whether it's the TC1s or the Tentacle Sync units or anything like that, you can jam timecode to those devices, or this will accept timecode as well. So no matter your workflow, you're really set up with an amazing Slate and timecode device, and your editor, if they're just gonna love you, or you're gonna love yourself if you're editing the project, having timecode and also this metadata here, because if you're doing a ton of interviews or different takes for commercial project or whatever the case may be, having this metadata and this information makes it so handy when you're going off and editing this thing, maybe, you know, 3 weeks or 4 weeks later, whatever the case may be. Now, would I recommend this? Absolutely, if you are in the market for a Slate. If you don't have a need for a Slate, don't spend the money on buying this thing. There is absolutely no reason to have this if you don't need a Slate for your productions. If you're like a wedding filmmaker or a YouTuber or whatever the case may be, don't get this thing. This would be a waste of money to you, honestly. But if you need a Slate, I would highly recommend getting this over some of the other competition because of so many features packed into this thing. So you know who you are if you need a Slate. If you don't think you need a Slate, probably don't get one. Maybe just rent it if you need it on a one-off chance that you need one. So otherwise, highly recommended. Deity knocked it out of the park with this one. They're just knocking it out of the park with all the releases lately, and this unit here is absolutely no exception to that. So appreciate you watching. I know this is all over the place, but this is my first sleep deprived YouTube video review that I've had, being a new father. So I'm probably all over the place, and I probably look really tired, but that's what happens when you've been up since 3 a.m. So hit that like button, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Leave me questions down in the comments if you have any questions about this unit. And yeah, and if you got this unit and you still don't know what's going on, they have a manual on the website. So I highly recommend you go in there to take a look at that. So appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.